Hello and welcome to the Music for Young Violinists YouTube channel. My name is Heather. It is so special for me to connect through space and time through our shared love of music and all things violin. This video is called 5 Technicals for the Left Hand, and it is going to be for both students and teachers. If you're a student watching this, all the things covered you should be able to do within the first 5, maybe up to the 7 years of your playing, depending on when you're starting. Teachers, your task in watching this video is to make sure that you're taking these foundational elements of left hand technique and breaking them down into some of the small minutiae that we're going to cover. Use this as almost like a checklist, and also it might just refresh some things that you haven't used for a while or wanted to come back to. So we need to start by defining what a technical is. And in order to do that, I'm going to just go back and give the 10,000 foot view of what it means to play music. For me, playing music is so extraordinary because we use all 3 parts of our being. We combine our mind, body, and our soul. We use our mind to control our body, to express our soul. What a technical will do is it'll just isolate just that mind-body connection and get that really, really strong. When we have more technique, we have more expression. And the analogy I always like to use, it's like a painter and paints, colors of paints. Every technique is an additional color. So the more technique that you have and the more control over your technique that you are able to express, the more colors you have in your palette. So the first technical I'm going to go through are the finger patterns. Now, if you like visuals and that just helps you stay organized or it's how you learn, you can go to my website, go to the freebies page, and there's 3 finger pattern charts that you can download to go along with what these are. So this is a finger pattern. We have 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. We're going to teach these in just from simplest to more advanced. So a lot of times if it's a real young student or somebody even that's just at the beginning needing some support, you would want to put it on the ground or put it on your lap. And that just gives a platform so that the other hand can come in and move the fingers to start to find these shapes. Secondly, you'll do it in the air. And third, you're going to do 2 hands together and work on speed. Now, what's so exciting about finger patterns is it makes music theory applicable. All of a sudden, now music theory isn't some conceptual thing, it's how we're feeling, and we can translate it directly into playing and expressing music. So when you have a real control over these finger patterns, half and whole steps have been so fluently coded in your body and brain, and that mind-body connection, you're going to learn pieces faster. And that's an exciting thing. The next technique is bass joints. And when we talk about these in anatomical terms, we would use the phrase proximal phalanges. And I don't think anyone watching this speaks Latin, or if you do, say hi to us in the comments below in that language, but we're going to use the term bass joint. So what is a bass joint? Let's define that. So a basement of a house would be the foundation of a house. It's what everything is built upon. And that is the same with our bass joints. I can show you here in a picture of an X-ray. So we have the joint here, and the bass joint is circled here in red. It's the lower part of the joint, and it will provide the foundation for our left hand technique. So the challenge with bass joints here is that when our eye sees our hand, we see this crease here. So I've already drawn on my hand today. Already done a little teaching, but you can see this crease. And so that's where we kind of think of as the finger is starting. And it's erroneous, it is wrong. The finger actually goes way deep into the hand, way deep into the hand, way deep into the hand right there. And even though my ink ran out here, I think you get the picture. That's very, very different spot. And if you're moving your finger and you're thinking that power is there in the middle of the joint versus here, just feel that. Do that on your hand. That's a completely different connection. Completely different. So it is deceptive because our hand doesn't look like exactly what we need to know about to play with this. So you can either download this. This will be on my website as well. The link is below. It's all free. And also, when you're teaching it, go ahead and draw these on your students' hands and then have a little fun. Play with your fingers, just like you're playing with Play-Doh. Move them around from that deep spot. So when we learn how to play from the bass joints, when that's on our fingerboard and we're using that powerful part of our anatomy, it literally feels powerful. You feel so in control of your playing because you're using the ergonomics and the beautiful, miraculous design of your human body to play music. It will also create much more articulate playing with the left hand and facilitate more speed. All very exciting things. Another thing that might be useful, it's also a preparatory vibrato exercise, but you can go and do some of these with your left hand to just get going, get that bass joint identified and loosened up. So our third technical is the hook back. And this is a segue from the bass joints because it involves that ingredient of playing the violin. So I'm going to tell you a story. Either if you're a student or a teacher, you will probably identify this, but maybe you've been playing around along in A major, D major for years, and it is sounding great, and you're ready to now learn something a little more sophisticated, maybe something in G minor, and your hand needs to do that. It needs to hook back, and all of a sudden, everything starts to get distorted. Things that you worked on for years all starts crumbling because we haven't really identified the bass joints. So you see how these are all going to start to overlap with each other. So the way that I like to teach the hook back playing, the first thing I like to do is use my other hand to teach this hand, and I'll stabilize, if you can see it there, I'll stabilize 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll just start to isolate. So usually that first finger that we're going to use first for hooking back. It's pretty easy to do this, and that's the point. If things aren't easy in their smallest minutia, then don't go on to the next. So once that's easy, now we'll do it without the helper hand. Once that's easy, we'll do it in what I call guitar position. So you can just put 2, 3, 4, park them, and just start to slide that first finger. Once that's easy, now we're actually going to go up and do that there. We might still be stabilized on the edge of the violin here, or perhaps you're ready to do that. And then finally, you can start to identify that little spot there, like a window. That's just a term I gave to it. There's a lot of things you could call that. But what's nice, students really do benefit from having something that's objective and measurable like that, and you can measure it because either there has been the space for the pen to go through there or there has not been. So that is a nice way to break down some of that. I would not yet go into repertoire though yet, so we're still working on technique. I would take this now when I would take my A major twinkle and I would play it in minor with some F flats and B flats and see if I can still keep that technique nice, or did something collapse. If something disintegrated in the process of integrating the bow, then go back through some of the other 4 steps first. So we're going to go on to the 4th technical, which is vibrato, and this is a big deal. It's a big deal. I have an entire video that went viral just because it addresses some of the key components of vibrato, and I'll put that link below because that will go through in a much more detailed way of how to break this down and sequence this. But there's 2 things that I want you to get out of this more just overview technique video. There's 2 key elements for vibrato. One remove what makes vibrato hard, which is gravity and asymmetry. This is hard. You're holding something up and you're plopping it on one side. It's not natural. So teach vibrato in cello position. It's central, it's centered, and there's no gravity to fight against. Next, identify for your students, again, without the instrument here, what goes into vibrato without the violin. We have our arm vibrato and our wrist vibrato. Those things are really easy. They plant seeds of simplicity that can grow into complex music making, but we have to first plant that seed of simplicity. And on that note, we're going to segue into our last technical, which is shifting. So just like arm vibrato it's kind of a giant shift, this is all that shifting is. It's abducting the arm, adducting the arm, opening it, moving it far away, bringing it closer to the body. I might have lost some of you right there. You're probably thinking in your head, but shifting is hard, it's complicated, it takes hours and hours and hours of practice, and we agree. When we put it into a repertoire, there is work to be done. It will take time. But do we first understand that this is all that shifting is? We don't need to tighten our shoulders. We don't need to scrunch our face. We don't need to get stressed out. Start from there. That's shifting. That's easy. You can actually do that at 4 years old on your first lesson. Next, and again, bigger philosophies right now are find the easiness, the seeds of simplicity into everything. Next, can we do this? Can we shift without GPS locations on the fingerboard? What are we looking for? We're looking to make sure that nothing is tightening up in the posture. We're making sure that the body is relaxed and the face is relaxed. Everything is soft and nothing is activating that we don't want it to activate. From there, then we can add specific locations. This is going to conclude the 5 technicals. And let me know, how did I do? Did I miss anything? I'm hoping that there's some dialogue that we can cultivate through these videos. This is a global project. What would you like to see? Would you like to add anything? Would you have another breakdown step? Do you have a trick, a tip, a complimentary view? Let us know in the video's comments below. And the right-hand technical video, the link will be below as well as references to all the free tutorial components like the PDFs and instructional videos. Thank you so much again. I am so grateful to have this space to connect with and share music.